In some cases now, in Kansas classrooms and schools, some students have to surrender their phones or any device before the day and learning gets underway.
Tomorrow, the State Board of Education will present recommendations to provide guidance to Kansas schools on drafting those kind of policies. Sean Logging on what some recommendation could include and the outcome it's hoping to have on students.
Like Rachel, there has been some significant challenges for educators. More than 70% of high school teachers in a study by Pew Research this year says students being distracted by cell phones in class is a major problem. It's among the research cited by a 36-member Kansas task force with educators, parents, and students looking at student screen time. Last week, that task force finalized its recommendations meant to provide guidance to districts on research-based approach, not mandates. In some schools, it's already in effect.
They impact students being able to learn, and they impact teachers being able to teach.
A learning environment without phones.
It's very important to me that our kids are not distracted in schools. We're providing the best way for them to learn.
A Kansas task force on student screen time has just finished their work to provide statewide guidance on student access to their phones and devices in school, including recommending districts drafting bell-to-bell policies and students' personal devices are inaccessible during the school day.
Like sitting in the lunchroom and a kid, wanting to have a conversation with somebody, but their nose is down in a cell phone.
Among the members is Ark City parent and school board member Lori Barnes.
I don't want people to think that this was all, negative on the cell phone. It was, there were panelists that came in that talked about how use of technology is needed for our kids.
Cell phones are going in the pouch.
Know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. Know when it's, when we need to put that down and really pay attention.
The task force provides recommendations on the use of personal devices in school, mental health and screen time, and parent oversight of district-owned devices.
Really leave a lot of ability for those schools to craft those with the help of their local administration, their school boards, their communities, their teachers.
The recommendations include educators having students take breaks from screens while in the classroom and providing education on using technology in a more meaningful and effective way. The goal is to see students focused on learning, not pulled away by their screen.
The student perspective was always really interesting to hear, and honestly, a lot of times kind of surprising at how candid they were with some of the issues that they see cell phones creating.
What will happen next? The task force will present their recommendations to the Kansas State Board of Education tomorrow morning during their meeting. Now, it will only be up for discussion. The BOE members can vote to adopt the recommendations in December.
Sean, thank you. More rain is on the way here to Kansas, so take a look.